Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the AEW Dynamite review for the 23rd of October 2021. Good things on the show, bizarre things on the show. Overall, a good episode of Dynamite. Bryan Danielson defeating Dustin Rhodes in the first round of the World Championship Eliminator Tournament. I hate these. Why don't you just call it a number one contenders tournament rather than a eliminator tournament? Just stupid. Anyway, Deathlock and a bow and arrow allow Danielson to work over the legs. Dustin comes back with a drop down right hand, but gets nailed with a dive to the outside. Dustin then lands a senton off the apron for a near fall. Danielson cuts Dustin off and goes after his legs again. Dustin uses power advantage to regain control with a German suplex. And then Danielson goes to work on the arm, goes for key lock attempt, pins Dustin's head to the mat and stomps on the elbow. They fight on the top rope. Dustin hits a superplex, and then they trade right hands until Danielson runs the ropes and is cut off with the snap power slam. Curtain call followed for a near fall. Dustin lands 10 punches in the corner, flips Danielson off in the process, and Danielson then hits a running bulldog and nails a corner drop kick before he lays in a bunch of harder strikes. Dustin fights out with a flying clothesline for near fall, but Danielson transitions out of the cover into a label lock attempt. Dustin gets his foot on the ropes before it could be locked on. Danielson lays in a bunch of yes kicks, but Dustin fires up and then trades strikes once more. Danielson then counters drop down and right hands into the backslide for a near fall, then drops him with an enziguri. He lands a bunch of curve stomps and then locks in the Buzz Killer prosciutto knee, and then Dustin surprises him with a lariat and then a pile driver for a near fall. Danielson flies off with a jumping guillotine and forces body scissors. Dustin collapses and the referee stops the contest. The Elite are backstage. Next week they'll face off with the Dark Order. Who cares about this? Omega addresses Hangman Page, saying that he was always championship material, but Page was just cosplaying as a cowboy. Omega knows Page insecurities and he's afraid to fail. He's also afraid he's a fraud. If people knew Page the way Omega knows him, they'd be chanting coward stuff instead of cowboy stuff. Decent enough promo, better promo for Omega than he's normally known for. FTR and Tully Blanchard cut a promo on the Lucha Brothers. They need the World Tag Team Championships to cement themselves as the legacy top tag team of all time. They've been waiting for a year for their next opportunity. Penta responds, and then Alex Abrahante says revenge is coming. There's a Sting MJF promo. Anyway, Sting is brought out by Tony Schiavone and asked about Darby Allin's condition. Before he could speak, MJF music's played, and he interrupts. He said he wasn't here to embarrass the icon. He wants a gentleman's chat. Truth is, Allen's not coming back. He was drowned out by a, shut the blank up chant, and MJF said he's trying to fool the fans with the face paint and attitude, but that's they're easy to fool because they're fat and products of incest, which is a brutal line. Anyway, he said Allen currently is in the same spot as Sting's old friend Lex Luger in a wheelchair, and Sting decks him for that, but the Pinnacle runs out, and Sting is able to fight them off for a moment. Spears and Wardlow overwhelm Sting as the former laid in the chair shots. Loud Darby chants come along, and less than questionable language comes along. MJF addresses Allen and asked if they'd broken him mentally. He demanded that Allen look at the incapacitated Sting. The fans can chant Allen's name all they want, but he'll always be second best compared to MJF. I am past the present and the future of professional wrestling, MJF declares. Sting, he gets decked with the Dynamite Diamond Ring to close the segment. Britt Baker's backstage. She addresses Ty Conti, who is confirmed as a Full Gear opponent for her, and the winner of going into the championship match. She said all Conti's done since coming to AEW was show that she is, well, her backside, and that would be proven again at Full Gear. Ruby Soho defeats Penelope Ford in the TBS Championship Tournament first round. Not a fan of this, just because, I'm sorry, Penelope Ford belongs nowhere near national television. She is not capable of keeping pace on an average week-to-week basis. She can have a good match here and there, but still needs much more seasoning before national television, where she belongs. Ford attacks before the bell and dominates for a bit before Soho cuts her off with kicks for a near fall. Bunny skips down to the ring to watch and then takes a shot at Soho, allowing Ford to take her down ahead of the break. Once back, Soho lands a big backdrop suplex to start her comeback. Soho then counted Ford's backbend, and they kind of get lost until Ford hits a cutter out of nowhere for a near fall. Soho cuts Ford off with a leg sweep, but Ford then hits a back heel kick and a double knee gutbuster for a near fall. Ford then gets a hold of the brass knucks, but the official sees it and takes them, and Soho rolls up Ford for the win. Right person won. Absolutely nothing throwaway match. Bunny and Ford cornered Soho, but Red Velvet runs out and they chased her away. Soho will face Chris Statlander next in the tournament. MJF is backstage with Spears. Wardlow walked up and confronted MJF about leaving him in the ring last week. MJF complimented Wardlow on his hard work, but said that he needs accountability buddy, and that's Spears. This is kind of weak. Bobby Fish defeats Anthony Green. Nice enough match. Fish decks Green right away, but Green comes back with a crossbody rope walk combination. Fish then lands kicks and a slingshot senton for near fall. Fish lands impactful offense and lands a hard buzzsaw kick for a quick win. Post-match, Fish continues to beat down Green. He then lays in ground and pound. CM Punk runs out to make the save, setting up for Fish and Punk somewhere not too far in the future. Fish and Punk could be good. Dante Martin and Leo Rush are backstage. Rush is trying to take Dante to the highest of heights possible. He says he's already set up first match as a tag team. They will take on the Seidel's next week on Rampage. Can't imagine anybody cares about this except those who like non-psychology wrestling. Eddie Kingston defeats Lance Archer in the first round of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. This is fine, although Archer gets knocked silly after landing on his head on a moonsault attempt, forcing there to be an early ending. Kingston attacks during the entrance. They brawl at ringside. Archer body slams a fan onto Kingston before choke slamming him. They finally make it into the ring to kick off the match, and Archer continue to dominate until Kingston fights out with a blackout attempt and locked on a dragon sleeper. Archer then levels Kingston with a lariat ahead of the commercial. Archer then continues to dominate until Kingston avoids a moonsault. Archer lands on his head on the moonsault attempt, and Tony Nese was shown in the crowd. Kingston and rolls Archer up for the 3. Kingston will face Bryan Danielson in the next round of the tournament on Friday. Dan Lambert and the Men of the Year are in the ring. Page says that the Inner Circle sucks. I tend to agree. He then runs down each member, comparing him to themselves. He said he and Sky are the future of the company, not PR nightmare Sammy Guevara. Guevara then calls out and says they've had enough. Will you please shut up? And then he worked hard to become TNT champion. The only person who cares about what Page has done since coming in is Page. Guevara calls Lambert a fat-faced, well, like he did last week, and the fans continue to chant in that general direction. Lambert said that he's proud of Guevara for killing it on the mic, and maybe this will put to bed all of the backstage rumors about him being a bad talker. Full Gear, they will have their team or 10-man tag team match, and if only Guevara puts the TNT championship on the line against Page, if Guevara loses, he has to lose the Inner Circle forever. Guevara accepts this, and if he wins, the Inner Circle gets to choose the members of the American Top Team to face. Sky and Page walk to the ramp to fight, but the Inner Circle, minus Jericho, runs out and clears things for the Men of the Year. Jon Moxley's backstage. He's supposed to be yelling and screaming about the tournament, but he's thinking about his daughter. When he's with his daughter, he realizes he doesn't care about any of this, the ratings, the championships, anything. What he cares about is getting home in one piece. For that to happen, other people have to get hurt, and this is what Moxley does. His message to everyone in the tournament: I'll get you before you get me. The Dark Order's backstage. They said a single loss wouldn't stop them. Hangman Page walked up and apologized for everything that happened after he left. I don't know. I mean, this is fine. Although, should Page going into a championship match be affiliated with the Dark Order goofiness? Jungle Boy defeats Brandon Cutler. Jungle Boy sends Cutler to the floor and nails a tope. Cutler then waits for Panama Sunrise, but Jungle Boy counters. Cutler lands a slap and was met with slaps from Jungle Boy before being powerbombed. Snare trap made it elementary from there. And after the match, Jungle Boy called out a match of a warm-up. He's then feeling good and he's ready to go. He invites anyone from the Elite to come out here and fight. Nobody came. Jungle Boy locked Cutler in the snare trap. Adam Cole comes out, calls out Jungle Boy and calls him an embarrassment. He suggests that he has Jungle Boy fight right here, right now. Jungle Boy decks Cole, but then blindsided by super kicks, and then from the Young Bucks, and then he hit the BTE trigger on the ramp before letting Cole hit the knee to the back of the head. Finally, they mock the super click, kiss, and toss him off the stage through the ringside table. Lineup for Wednesday: the Elite versus the Dark Order. What a waste of time. Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page for the TNT Championship. TBS Championship Tournament, Sheeta versus Serena Deeb, and Punk versus Bobby Fish. Overall, a good lineup. And this coming Wednesday. And then Rampage, the 28th, comes out to be World Championship Eliminator, Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston, and Leo Rush and Dante Martin versus Sociedale. Miro is continuing to lose his faith. God's Forsaken Champion will become God's favorite again because he will leave no choice. I don't know where this is all going. Speaking of not knowing where things are going, the main event is here. Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson defeats Mikael Black. I don't really understand Anderson walking away and then being back with Rhodes this quickly. The exchange holds before moving into strikes. Black goes for a knee bar pretty quickly. Cody stands up and stomps his way out of it. Black regains control with a back elbow. Cody goes for the figure four, but Black gouges at Cody's eyes and then rolls onto the floor. He then grabs a chair and throws it into the ring as Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson come out to ringside. The match then goes to commercial. During the break, Cody lands a crossroads through a table at ringside. Black is then busted open with Cody, and then they take a really long time to recover. Andrade comes out, and his assistant Jose gets involved. Arn hits Jose with a spine buster, but took Black missed from Black, and then Pac runs out, and he and Andrade brawl to the back. Black hits a springboard moonsault. Cody pops up and hits the crossroads for a near fall. The crowd is 100% behind Black at this point. Black then climbs the ropes, lands a top rope double stomp and a rising knee, and a German suplex bridge for a good near fall. He then comes in with a spinning heel kick, but Cody collapses into the ropes. Cody then goes to the floor, avoiding a moonsault and landing a tope suicida. Back in the ring, Cody hits the Cody Cutter and the Crossroads. Tiger Driver 98 finishes it off, and Cody wins as we close the show. I love Cody Rhodes. I think he's one of the better talents they have. I do not think, with the momentum of Black, that he should have won here. This doesn't make any sense and is bad for business. We'll be back with more right after this.